Welcome back. Welcome back. We've finally got a chance to get to our next video here from my book, the Linux Plus Certification Exam Guide. So this is the pre-exam. Actually, that's inside of Chapter 1. We're looking at question 39 and question 40. And so if you like this channel, please make sure you like it and subscribe. And then we do have a contest going on at every video. You just have to make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And then you're entered into a drawing. The deadline for this drawing will be January 6th. The winner gets a free digital copy of the book. Let's get on to question number 39. The /etc/sudoers file on the Linux system is configured by default such that users must apply their password when using sudo to grant elevated privileges. Which commands are best used to modify the /etc/sudoers file? We have to choose two here. And your options are gedit, vi, notepad, sudoedit, and visudo. You can pause the video. Otherwise, for those that didn't pause, the answers here are D and E, sudoedit and visudo. The way sudo works, let me bring up I think I've got my Debian system today. The way sudo works is when a person wants to run a command as root, which is similar to the administrative users, the user that has all privileges. Use the sudo command to run that command. Let me get out of this. So sudo allows you to run a command at root privilege without becoming root. In fact, think about it this way. With sudo, everyone does not have to have the root password. You know, back in the past, we used to share the root password. Of course, that's a security issue. And everyone has a root password. That ends up being very insecure, as you can imagine. So with this system, with sudo, now people are given rights inside of this file called Sudoers. And if we look at answering our question, I can use the command visudo to edit this file. And the password I'm putting in is not the root password. I'm putting in student 1's password. And because student 1 is a power user, then student 1 gets root privileges. And so these changes are made inside of the file called /etc/sudoers. Now the question talks about, it says which commands are the best to use. Gedit and vi both could be used to edit the sudoers file. But if multiple users are editing that file at the same time, whoever saves the changes last wins. Notepad, as most of you know, is not a command for Linux, but is a Windows command for an editor. But gedit is a lot like Notepad because it comes up in a graphical user interface in a GUI environment. So anyway, we could edit with gedit and vi, but sudoedit and visudo will edit the file and secure the file at the same time, making sure only one person's editing that file at a time. On the exam, you do have to read these questions very carefully. Look for words like best, most likely. That's very important. There will probably be more than one right answer on the exam, and so you have to make sure you choose the best answer. With sudo, if I use sudoedit, let me go back to, I would say, foreground. Let me get back to this one. I've got to exit with Control X, and since there are no changes, I was able to get right out. No, I can say sudoedit /etc/sudoers. This is the other way I can edit it in a secure manner, edit the file. And again, it's going to ask for my password. I'll put in the password for student 1, not the password for root. That's the point here. We want root to we only want 1 or 2 people only need to know the root password. But we can still give a person elevated privileges by putting them inside of this etc Sudoers file. So here, there's several ways to add a user, but here's one way. So we'll go ahead and add the user right there. And so if I had another user, I'd just say comma and then add that user as well. And then even root ends up being a user, and so here they're given all privileges for all commands from all systems. So even root can use the sudo command. We'll do Control X. This editor, it's not VI, it's called nano. N-A-N-O. Do Control X to get out of that. It was VI. So we could do it this way and use a VI editor to look at the file, but and change and modify the file. But I'll save and quit by sending 2 uppercase Z's. But again, the best answer for this one and the most secure is DNE, sudoedit and VI sudo. All right. Let's take a look at question number 40. Which setting made in the proper file in the /etc/pam.d directory? By the way, this /etc, you'll hear a lot of folks will just call it etc. So the etc directory. What tracks login attempts and locks out users after multiple attempts? PAM-access.so, PAM-login-UID.so, PAM-limits.so, PAM-tally2.so. Okay, so the answer to this one, I'll give you a chance to pause. And if all right, so for those that want to know, the answer to this one is D, PAM-tally2. Now, PAM-access.so, the purpose of that one is for logging and accounting. And then same for B, but specifically B is for logging and accounting of users logging in and out. Limits is the PAM feature. For those that don't know, PAM stands for Pluggable Authentication Modules. And Pluggable Authentication Modules bring about features similar to what you might find in Active Directory, where you would go ahead and set up a set of rules, and it'll be for all those commands. Like we want to set up login rules. Like here with what we're going to do with tally2, PAM-tally2, we're going to set up some rules for when you can log in and how many times you can attempt to do it. There are other features that are used to set password complexity. So there are a lot of features with PAM and Pluggable Authentication Modules. They have about 100 modules, so there's a lot you can do with this. It's covered a little bit on the exam, so we want to make sure we go over it here. So let's go back to our Debian system. Unlike Active Directory, this is all done with a command line, not a graphical user interface like you would do with Windows. But let me clear this off here, change directories. We'll cd to /etc pam.d and take a listing at the files there. And here we have files that can be used to handle logging in, for example, for your SSH server. And in fact, that's the one we're going to look at. Oh, here's one for FTP if you want to set up, login and password complexity within SSHD. Let's take a look at it, and I'm going to make a backup of this just to be safe. So I'll use the CP command to copy it. And here we have some pluggable features within, like disallow non-root logins when the etc no login file exists. That's features done with PAM_no login. Here's the PAM access we spoke about earlier for doing accounting and logging. and there's some other ones here as well. And while inside this file, this PAM configuration file, but let me just go ahead and I'll put in here, just in case you didn't understand, PAM again stands for Pluggable Authentication Modules. If I want to set up this feature with PAM Tally 2, I want to get into the authentication section, which is around here. And I'll go ahead, you've got some PAM modules that are optional, where if it fails, that's okay. You have some PAM modules that are required. If it fails, it's not okay. So what we'll be showing here are a couple modules that will be required. And so the first one will be an authentication module. And we'll say required. And that'll be PAM_tally2.so. We'll set our deny equal to 3 and our on error equal to fail. So they got 3 times to attempt to log in with their password, and if after the 3rd time, if it fails, it locks them out. And then we also have to go ahead and put in some account information that's required, and that would be PAM_tally2.so. Alright, we'll do a :WQ to write and quit our changes. And let's just take a look at the man page briefly for PAM_tally2, and we can learn more about this command. And here we learn that there is the .so, that would be the shared object that goes into the file under /etc pam.d, like we showed earlier. And then this one is one that runs on the command line, so you can go ahead and get an idea of how many times a person has attempted to log in. It'll give you a report, and you can reset the counter this command. So if we go down here, we can see some of the options that are available here, and so I'll let you do the man page on your own system. You can read this on your own, but one important point, you will have to create this log file /var/log tally log to go ahead and keep track of login attempts. And so again, you'd have to be root to do that. You can say touch /var log tally log, and that'll go ahead and create that file for you. That's it for PAM. The first time I learned PAM, I was trying to learn from this other instructor, and he's going to teach me about this, and I looked all over, and he kept getting me to this one point, and he always get pulled away. And then I'm trying to tell him I don't want to learn all this other stuff. I don't understand PAM, and it didn't work out well at all. Now I know it much better, and we can pass on this information to you. And again, here's my book. Remember our contest. That drawing will be January 6th. And if you like this video, again, subscribe. If you don't like the video, please press the like button twice. Thanks for watching, and more coming soon.